A Search in Vedic India, Chapter 9, Guru. They could not meet Prem Sarup the next day. They were advised to visit Swami after 2 days, as interviews were stopped for 2 days because of the visit of some foreign groups. During that time, Albert discussed with Kalyan Dev about the studies of Vimala and arranged for her to write GRE after convincing him. He gave all the particulars of the examination and made arrangements to get relevant books from Bangalore. Vimala felt happy within herself for the interest evinced by Albert for her education. They met Prem Sarup in the interview room on the third day. I am sending you to a gentleman who mastered the essence of Upanishads and had a direct understanding. He has been guiding many people from all over the world. Meet him and try to get all your doubts cleared. Do not satisfy with just intellectual understanding. You must aim at a direct understanding of the whole concept of Advaita. If necessary, stay there for some days and practice what he advises, said Swami. Will it not be helpful if we listen to his lectures before we meet him? Are any cassettes or CDs available anywhere? Asked Vimala. Prem Swarup smiled and said, It seems that lectures given in temples and other platforms are in your mind. They are all within the framework of religion and are based on a belief system. You cannot have a direct understanding of Upanishad secrets from them. At the most, they may prepare you and make you eligible. Why don't they preach them in those lectures? That way, the content may reach many people. Isn't it so? Said Vimala. People who go to those lectures are at different levels of understanding, and very few would be capable of grasping deep secrets hidden in scriptures. I will tell you a secret. A person who had a direct understanding of truth does not give lectures based on a belief system. If one is giving them, it is an indication that he had no direct understanding. It does not mean that we are finding fault with them. It is also a kind of service, as it helps the listeners in preparing themselves for higher truths. Kalyan Dev will brief you about whom to meet. When you meet him, you will understand how lucky you are, and it is difficult for many others to have reached your stage. With those remarks, he blessed them and they left after taking Padanamaskaram. They met Kalyan Dev with a lot of enthusiasm. Swami directed us that we should find out whom we should meet from you, said Vimala. There is one Sri Ramanatham who is known as Atmananda in Advaita circles. He doesn't publicize himself with that name. He appears to be a very simple man. You know that we cannot judge people from outward appearance. From all over the world, people come to him seeking enlightenment. Satsangs are also organized by his disciples at many places to spread his teachings. He lives near Kaleshwaram in Andhra Pradesh on the banks of river Godavari. One Mr. Raja Rao, Prem Sarup's disciple, will provide you with accommodation in Kaleshwaram. You may stay there as many days as you want, said Kalyan Dev, and asked them to make arrangements for their travel the next day. It was 6 in the evening by the time they reached Kaleshwaram. They inquired about Rajarao and reached his house located in a big compound behind Shiva temple. Inside the compound, it was very neat and pleasant with several trees. Just before they knocked, the door opened by Rajarao himself. Looking at them, he said, Oh, you came. Kalyan Dev informed me about your visit. He took them to the guest house which is inside the compound. He told them that within 1 hour the manager, Mr. Molaya, would come and take care of their requirements. You can tell him whatever you want and he would take care. You can visit Sri Ramanatham in the morning after 7. Saying this, he took leave of them. In the night, Molaya told them that Sri Ramanatham lives in a farmhouse on the banks of river Godavari and they could walk down from the guest house. They set out to Sri Ramanatham's residence after taking coffee in the guest house. It was a pleasant walk with coconut trees one side and river Godavari on the other side. They arrived at the farmhouse gate of Sri Ramanatham. The house is located quite interior to the main gate. As the gate is open, they entered and found two laborers working on the plants on the farm. Both of them were wearing turbans as all Indian workers do. Vimala inquired one of them about Sri Ramanatham. One of them indicated the portico in front of the house and asked them to wait there. Vimala and Albert entered the portico and found three chairs with small cushions. There is one big reclining wooden chair which they understood to be meant for Sri Ramanatham. They seated in the chairs with cushions and looked around. There was a big wooden centerpiece on which some newspapers were arranged neatly. The doors opened and an elderly lady came out smiling. Both of them stood and joined palms in Indian style, showing respect. You must have seen Ramanatham Garu at the gate. I will get water. Saying this, she went in and returned with 2 glasses of water in a tray. As soon as she went in collecting glasses, one of the workers who directed them to the portico came, removed the turban, and sat in the reclining chair. Vimala earlier had a premonition that the same man could be Ramanatham Garu, though she did not mention it to Albert. After settling in the chair, he said, "It didn't strike to me that I should announce myself as Ramanatham. It just happened like that," looking at them with a smile. Vimala and Albert stood up and offered respects in Indian style. "It seems Kalyan Dev informed Rajarao that you are coming. Hope you had a comfortable journey. I will be back in 5 minutes. Meanwhile, have your coffee that madam brings." He went into the house while madam brought coffee for them. Vimala noticed something special in his personality. Though she could not trace it to one specific reason, she noticed his unassuming manners and childlike simplicity. In a few prominent people she met earlier, she noticed different body languages at different times, displaying their greatness at times. She could not find any trace of ego in Sri Ramanatham. Both of them accepted the coffee brought by madam in steel glasses. Filter coffee is served in steel glasses with steel cups in South Indian houses. Compared to the black coffee he was accustomed to, Albert liked the filter coffee very much. Vimala took the cups inside and handed them over to madam after cleaning, though madam was saying cleaning was not necessary as a maid would take care of it shortly. Within 5 minutes, Sri Ramanatham came out and asked Albert about his details. After personal details, Albert mentioned about his search on all the aspects of death. "It is quite interesting to note that you are still pursuing that matter even though more than 15 years elapsed after your father's demise," he said. "Though initially I started with an inquiry into death-related matters, after travelling with Vimala, I am convinced that unless the secret behind their life and its source is traced, all questions may not be answered," replied Albert. Sri Ramanatham inquired Vimala also about her quest. Vimala said that though she started in a small way, she wanted answers to many questions. How is this visible world created? Who created it? Since there cannot be a pot without a potter, even if it is assumed that God has created this world, who is that God? How to find Him? Many people talk about self-realization. What exactly it means? I want answers to all these questions, not based on a belief system of blind following. Swami, we are in search of a rational explanation that may lead us to the direct recognition of truth behind all these questions, said Vimala. She started addressing Sri Ramanatham as Swami without any conscious decision, like she was addressing Prem Swarup. She also briefed him all the details of their visit to Sri Swami Krishnananda and the discussions they had with him. Before we proceed further, let us have a small discussion. What is your main aim in life now? To enable you to understand the question, I will explain it further. Some people do have an ambition of growing politically. Some people want to be successful businessmen and make a lot of money. And some people want to be famous by earning a lot of reputation. And still some people want to rise in their profession or job and so on. If you closely observe them, all their activities are centered around their main ambition. Although they may be attending to the other routines, thoughts of their main ambition only occupy their time. Keeping this in view, please tell me, what is your aim? Is it to make money or to earn name and fame? Where does your mind go frequently? Undoubtedly, my mind goes frequently on the questions raised to you, though the job is done and routine money earning takes place, said Albert. Same is the case with me, said Vimala. Though you believe in the existence of a higher power like God, you want to know its nature and would like to have a direct understanding not based on a belief system. Both of them said yes. I know that Prem Sarup sends here only when one is ready. However, you should know something more so that you have an idea as to how far away you are from the destination. I already mentioned how different persons were engaged in different pursuits. If one has to get an inclination to realize God, some hindrances are to be cleared. We can call them vasanas or conditioning. They are nothing but accumulated impressions absorbed through the five senses since childhood. While some of the impressions are latent, many of the past impressions get petrified and would become part of the personality. A major portion of it could be part of DNA. These vasanas are the main hindrance. Unless we reduce their impact on the personality of the individual, progress in the spiritual plane cannot be achieved. You will understand it better if I tell you what happened once when I was with my teacher. One day, two young men came on a bike to meet my master seeking spiritual guidance. During the conversation, he told the master that four friends started on foot to meet the master. But on the way, an acquaintance offered him a bike, and since he could take only one person with him, he selected the person with whom he came first. Master asked him the reason to select that person when three were available. That boy was frank, and he said that he just selected him without much thought process, as the person he selected belonged to his caste. What you should note is that Master did not find fault with him and just noted that his vasanas put him in a state and needed correction before going forward. Master explained to him that he should be free from it to progress in spiritual life. He separately prescribed some sadhana for him. Is caste feeling not good, Swami? Asked Vimala. From the object of recognition of truth, it is one of the many hurdles. Unless one overcomes such limitations, spiritual progress is not achieved. You will know more about it in our discussions, explained Swami. What is this caste feeling? Asked Albert. It's a kind of racial feeling which you find in Western countries among blacks, whites, and browns. Such feelings stand in the way to achieve progress on the spiritual front, explained Swami. Apart from the matters of an investigation into truth, such feelings may not be advisable socially also. Is there any explanation as to why any person develops such a feeling? Asked Vimala. You came to know from the discussions with Swami Krishnananda that you cannot find a single particular cause for any effect in the relative world. Why I mentioned that was just to tell you that your search would be more fruitful as you do not have such vasanas. But you may have to get rid of many other vasanas before you reach your goal. I would like to know one more thing from you. In case you recognize the truth, what is your objective? Do you want to become a guru and roam around the world conducting satsangs? Asked Swami with a smile. No, Swami, we do not have any other agenda except pursuing truth, said both of them. Albert remembered the satsangs he attended in America. Do not think that I am for or against such satsangs. In the context of impressing upon you about hurdles on the path, I asked. Even a desire to achieve liberation also could be a hurdle. Since you came very early in the morning, you will have breakfast here. Saying this, he addressed the second gentleman they have seen at the gate. Krishnaya Garu, please inform Madam that these two also will join us for breakfast. Krishnaya Garu went inside the house. From the discussion we had, whatever you want to know should be scientific and rational, without depending upon any belief system. Isn't it so? Asked Swami. Yes, Swami, said both. Then you have to understand one thing. For anything, there are two stages of learning. One is intellectual and the other is direct understanding, where you have a direct recognition. To make you understand better, I will give an example. Suppose I have to tell you about the preparation of potato curry. First, you will learn the recipe to make the curry. That is intellectual understanding. From that, if you want to prepare the curry yourself, it is not possible unless you have direct experience. Similarly, here also first intellectual understanding and then direct recognition. Any doubts here? Asked Swami. When we discussed karma, bhakti and yoga approaches earlier, we were told those approaches prepare one for realizing the truth, but by themselves do not give the final understanding. Then what is the name of the method of approach that would reveal truth? It is called knowledge approach, or popularly known as jnana approach. Here, no action is involved. It is knowing and understanding, said Swami. When it is said that the approach is just knowing, how can there be two stages? Is it difficult to recognize the truth once it is known? Asked Albert. It depends upon the stage of the person who is understanding. The conditioning may vary from person to person. Do you remember some time back I told you about 4 persons with different stages of vasanas? Vasanas are the impressions that one absorbs through the 5 senses, explained Swami. Impressions absorbed since when? Asked Vimala. Some impressions are in your DNA and some you absorbed since your childhood till date. Total becomes your vasanas. From DNA means past incarnations? Asked Vimala. If you do not believe in reincarnations, you may consider that you take some from genes of parents, said Swami with a smile. Krishnaya Garu came and invited them for breakfast. They followed him into the house. Inside, there was a sitting place with some chairs, and to the right of that place, there was a dining table with 5 or 6 chairs. Krishnaya Garu brought some idli and chutney in 2 bowls, besides 2 trays with bread toast, jam, and butter. All 3 started to have breakfast. Bringing some idli for a second serving, wife of Ramanathan Garu came there. He introduced her as his wife Sumati. Though earlier they have seen her, Albert and Vimala stood up and offered namaskaram. She smiled her acknowledgements and went inside. Swami said, Krishnaya Garu, we will sit in the mantapam of our garden. Please arrange some chairs there. Immediately Krishnaya Garu went out.